Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special interview here with Sara and Leah. So, Sara is the director of Solace United, and Leah is one of the amazing actresses who have been part of the movie. And thank you both so much for coming on and allowing me to interview you today. And
Of
I'm really
course.
excited to delve into this. So, Soldiers United, tell us a little bit about what inspired the movie.
So Soldiers United is kind of, I was inspired by my own personal football team. It's a five-a-side team called Bangers FC. We play in East London. Um, and yeah, and it was basically, I had joined this football team to make more friends, basically, because I lived abroad for quite a while and moved back to London. I was like, right, how am I going to make some friends? I'd always loved team sports from when I was very young. Previously like netball. And again, I did play football when I was younger. So it seemed right, you know. And when I joined the team, it was literally like a second family. We like hung out all the time. We played football twice a week. And during that time that I first joined, it was like it was summer. So you can imagine we were just like running around like, I just felt like a kid, and it was brought out this sort of inner child of mine, um, and made loads of friends. And so I think about a year and a half later, or maybe even a year, an opportunity arose where I could make this film essentially. So yeah, that's kind of how it came about, really.
Amazing. And Leah, do you also play football in real life?
I do now. I didn't before. I think that the film actually introduced football, grassroots football, into my life, and I've really kind of taken the bait, and I try and play every Saturday with a little training team, and I absolutely love it. It's just brought such a joy and community, like Sara was saying, into my life. So I do now, but no, I didn't before.
That's amazing. I love it. And so the whole kind of the whole theme of the movie is you're basically trying to save this pitch that this team play on, and the team actually are trying to save as well. And they're trying to figure out how do we keep our team, how do we keep our pitch, how do we keep everything going, and hopefully that helps to continue those relationships that have been fostered in the team. Um, I'm also conscious that one of the other themes is the theme of belonging, isn't it?
Mm.
So,
That's correct. Yeah.
so sorry, you touched upon it about your own experiences, about, being part of a team and how that cultivated belonging a little bit. Leah, how did you feel being on the set? I'm not sure whether you knew everybody beforehand, but how
Mm.
did the environment that this film created really cement that theme of belonging?
I mean, it goes from the top down with these things. So, Sara and her team were very focused on making sure everyone felt important and needed and looked after. So that was already the environment we were stepping into. And I don't know. I think like it was a group of people who just really quickly and easily settled in with each other. We all just kind of got it, and I think that's down to the casting and the work that they've been done there. We all just got it, and we all kind of like really quickly banded together and felt like we belonged to this project, which is quite special because that doesn't always happen when you work on things like this. And even when you work on big things with loads of money and loads of people involved, you'd think that you'd feel very special and, that it's a great project, and all this, but it doesn't always happen. So there was something quite special about this in that there was this almost instantaneous sense of belonging to a community. And perhaps it's because that's what we were trying to say in the film, that it just naturally translated over into real life, which often tends to happen. Yeah.
I have to say, you could definitely feel it like coming
Mm,
from the screen. Like watching it, you could tell the chemistry between everybody was there.
mm,
And I mean, I was saying to you earlier, by the end of it, I felt so invested in what's going to happen with the characters, what's going to happen with the story. And I was really left wanting more. And I was just like, no, you can't have left it there. Why?
That's what we want you to feel.
Exactly.
I thought the direction was brilliant. Honestly, the comedic lines, I found myself laughing out loud, and I just thought it was a stroke of brilliance, to be perfectly honest with you.
I love it. You should be my reviewer of all my films. That'd be great.
No, honestly, but the thing is, it had so much heart, and then those one-liners that you got throughout the film, it just brought everything together as well. And I just felt like as if it was a really good representation of society as well and what grassroots football teams actually look like as well. And you see it as you go up the ranks in women's football, you tend to lose that diversity as it goes up. And what you guys have done here so beautifully is you've put everybody together and said, this is society in
I mean,
Harrak.
I'm really glad you're saying all this because that is exactly what I wanted. Is that 100% is that diversity, and we talk about this, and even Leah says it's all about the effortlessly, there's no forced diversity. It is what it is because it does reflect grassroots football teams. Yeah, and I was really fortunate to be able to put, even for me, I'm Muslim, and to be able to put a niqab coach, yeah, sure, why not? Let's do it. Um, and it was played by my sister as well, which was even better. um, so yeah, so I'm really glad that you see all that because honestly, that for me as a director, hearing that what I intended to put out is being received is like a dream come true. Um, and I was very lucky. The cast are brilliant. And they did gel really well. And like Leah says, that doesn't always happen. And because this film is such about obviously people can act and pretend that they get on with each other, and actors are great at doing that. But there was more to it, and that also. And that was just really important to me, I think, and trying to make sure that's nurtured in a really lovely way. When actually, sometimes it was actually just them, and they knew what and jumped on board the train, as it were. Which again, is very fortunate to have that as a director, and have the actors trust in what you're doing, and also the crew as well. Everyone knew what we were trying to do, and we were heading all the same way. So that I was very fortunate in this project to have that.
Amazing. And given kind of how things are at the moment in the world and everything like that, why do you think it was so important that your film tells a story that it tells, but it's coming out at this point in time?
There's I get asked this a lot in terms of times, and I think there's always these sort of films are always going to be important. With the queer community, with the Islamic side of things, I think there's always, sadly, we're always in this turmoil, let's say, to say the least. And a lot of it actually, weirdly, we were saying previously as well, is about the timing of this film was actually out of our hands in the sense of it just happened to be like this, and it happened in such a beautiful way. Um, like there was a chance of us potentially getting funding earlier on for this film, and it fell through, and that was a blessing in disguise that we didn't realize for the long term, because eventually we ended up getting Dame Kelly Holmes as one of our execs on board, and also the release of the film has worked out so well that it's obviously the Women's Euros this year, and if we would have filmed it earlier, that wouldn't have happened, kind of thing. So we're very fortunate, and sometimes it is out of your hands in film, well, in anything in life. And so, yeah, I think there's always going to be importance telling these stories, sorry, with women's football, but I think just the timing itself was fully out of our hands, is what I'm trying to say, and we really are blessed in that sense.
It's amazing when the universe kind of comes together, kind of gets the timing right for you. Leah, what are your thoughts on it? Kind of why it's important to have the message that the movie brings out here in society?
I mean, it's just kind of by default important, um, because of many of the reasons that Sara mentioned just then. But also, being an actor, I've acted professionally for nearly 9 years now, which isn't actually that long. But I've seen a huge change in the kind of the climate of the industry, but also what the industry looks like and what the industry looks like in front of the camera and behind the camera. And coming from the last job the previous job I did, before doing this one, was a huge TV show. And while it was diverse and all of those things, it's it was hard for them to do that, because it's hard when you've got these big companies and big things involved. And so I think, with the timing of this and the way that Sara put all of this together, it, like I said before, it's like effortless. Like the diversity was effortless. The timing of it was almost like just so serendipitous. It just happened all at the right time. And it's so nice for me as an actor to see that it can be done. And I haven't really said this to Sara before, but it's hard when you're working on a set or in an environment where you don't feel like, where you feel like there's been an effort, a real effort to make sure that you're there and that you're happy and all this, but really you're just a regular person like everybody else. And I say this as a brown woman, but this show just gives an example of behind and in front of the camera of how it's relatively simple to create a set where everybody's equitable, equal, and it just feels right. It's not so much speaking to the timing of it or anything, but I think it speaks about the times and how the process of making it has really reflected a positive change in the industry. And that's obviously where I'm coming from, as an actor. So yeah.
That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. And I'm really glad that that's kind of come. And like I say, it comes across so well in the film as well. So I think that's beautiful. Um, so Sara, you mentioned a couple of things that I wanted to touch upon actually as well. So you said that Dame Kelly Holmes is actually, one of your executives. How was it working with her? And also, how does she help to kind of give direction to this project?
Yeah, the biggest thing that Dame Kelly Holmes has given, I think, us and the actors is, what she's done in her life is insane. And being so female driven, and so for me it was more about showing the actors that we've got Dame Kelly Holmes as our execs, like she's believed in our project, and I think that's the biggest thing that I feel like she has given in that sense. Because all, and I've sort of mentioned this before, it's just making sure, for me it's like making sure that everyone behind and in front of the camera is aligned to what we're trying to do. And so to have someone like Dame Kelly Holmes, being the beacon, as it were, was great. And it was really good for the actors to see that as well, and give them that drive and that push. And yeah, so that's what I feel like she's given the most, just being her, basically. When you're like her, you just decide to exist.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, just the opportunity to even to say that you work with Dame Kelly Holmes.
It was
Amazing.
Yeah, it was a blessing. And she's sort of very hands off in terms of the technical side of stuff. But she came into the when I was editing the film in Soho, she came in to watch the film, and she absolutely loved it and was really buzzing about it. So yeah.
Amazing. And I mean, the second thing that you mentioned was obviously about the LGBTQ, because there is a strong LGBTQ theme to this, but also about religion as well. And I feel like as if sometimes we don't talk about that enough because obviously, I can, I can speak from the experiences of my friends and whomever else, but people who are from different backgrounds, different religions, sometimes when you are from a queer background, and then it's difficult to navigate that and your religion at the same time.
Mm.
So, and obviously with having such a diverse cast as well, I thought it was a really beautiful thing how you married the two together as well. And so I guess I wanted to ask, how did you do that in a way that was was delicate enough to not shake the boat, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
This film is about it is about humans, so if we look past all the labels that we give ourselves, it's a human film. um and it's about love, and it's about kind of um people coming together, right? So so when you have that as your main, that's what we want to do. We want to tell this story about human beings. um I think everything else kind of happens naturally without it again feeling forced. um and again, it's that thing of, through my experience and what I've seen it being in grassroots football, is that there is so much acceptance within a team. Like, no one cares where you're from, what you're doing, what gender you are, no one cares, and that is what I was trying to achieve. And um yeah, and just show people that we can all be who we want to be in a community, and it'll be fine. That's reality. Like, just be kind to each other, be human. And I think that's why, I mean, I hope that comes across well, because the story is about human beings. And then everything else is you know irrelevant. And hopefully, if you can concentrate on it being about that story, then everything will fall into place.
That's amazing. No, thank you so, and I completely agree with you as well. And I really hope that the movie helps people and that it helps communities as well and just normalizes it, because I think that's the most important thing. Like you were saying, that we're all humans at the end of the day. Our choices about who we love doesn't hurt anybody else. It's about you.
Yeah.
Leah, what's your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you just said there. It's people like to be really bothered by those kinds of things, and as a storyteller and as somebody who has, all of us here, we decided that we were going to be part of this group of people who are going to contribute to how society thinks and what society is digesting in media. And with that comes the opportunity to normalize things and to get rid of stigmas and things like that. So, with the effortlessness that goes into, obviously it is with effort because it's intentional, that goes into making this film particularly, diverse, shining a light on things that we would like to be normalized, and making things just feel less dramatic and painful, that in the past, perhaps in media, have been portrayed as very painful things. That's just us doing our part, in making the world a bit of a better place. And sometimes, as actors and creators, and we might think to ourselves, oh, why am I doing this? Where's this going? Where's my energy going? I'm not making an impact. Or, oh, it's not like I'm a doctor, or something like that. But the reality is that it can make a really big impact on that one person, and that is huge. One person might watch this film who might be struggling with sharing their identity with their loved ones, struggling with accepting themselves within themselves, might be struggling with marrying religion with their identity, and all of these different things. And perhaps this might just make them feel a bit less crappy about it. And that's the best thing that can come out of these kinds of projects. So yeah.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head there, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. And again, that definitely comes through in the film as well. And Leah,
Mm.
just about your process and like, because obviously this is a short film, right? It's a short film. And there is so much going on in 15 minutes. I cannot believe how much goes on. You, as an actress, like, how do you manage to kind of get all of those emotions, all of that intensity between characters, the chemistry between it? I mean, you flick from one to the other, one to the other. How do you make it happen?
I mean, I think there's it's a twofold answer. Part of it is just doing the work that you need to do, like the basics, learning your lines, understanding the story, understanding the meaning and the reason, and the relationships between the characters, because that's all on paper. So that's all sorted. The other side is complete teamwork. It's, working with everybody involved in the process, Sara, the other actors, the costume, makeup, making sure that it's a collaborative process that goes into, you know, taking what's on the page to what you guys see on the screen. And with this particular project, Sara had a very strong vision for what she wanted for this, and we were able to go to Sara with any questions, and Sara provided us with a lot of information that's very useful to us, when we're in the scene, to know how would we respond to this particular line. Sara knows. So going to the main person is kind of the thing, but with that, that's where all the collaboration, that is it, that working with the director and working with all these different people, that's part of it. And you have to keep track of everything, and there's a script supervisor who can help you with that, and there's a producer who can help you with that, and there's Sara's working on this and we can work on that, and we're all just helping each other be on top of it. It's a teamwork. It's a lot of teamwork, but in order to be part of that team, you have to be the best you that you can be. Which so yeah, two parts to it, and you have to manage them both really well.
I mean, it's amazing. And for those action shots, so when you're on the pitch and everything like that, did you have like a football coordinator type of thing to try to get all the shots right and everything like that?
We did, didn't we? Sorry, we had someone come in who was we did a couple of sessions beforehand to kind of work out particular moves. And then on the day we had a young man, I forget his name now, which I feel really
Yeah,
bad about. I
man,
think
it's so
Sarah's
bad.
forgotten his name as well.
Yeah,
But he was fabulous, and he just kind of like talked everyone through it, because we had other football players as well on the pitch, so everybody had to be managed. It was a very big operation, wasn't it, Sarah?
oh God, yeah. It was it was a lot. It was we were like, our days were full to be filming. And we actually had the guys from Ted Lasso, and it's so annoying I cannot remember his name. It's really bad of me. I apologize. The guys from Ted Lasso who used to do the training, um the football, how they would play the game. They came down to help us, which is great. But yeah, I think we had like 40 minutes to do two halves of a game, and it was tight, to say the least. The sun was going down. It was like, yeah, it was pretty tight. But we got it done. And obviously, you have to realize that the guys were the guys are actors, they're not football players, right? So I had to counter that as well into it. But you learn a lot. I mean, you learn very quickly about things. Because it's the first time I'd shot like a big sort of sequence like that. But do you know what? Again, it was a blessing. It worked out. I remember though, after the day of shooting, I called my editor. I was like, please let me know. Just tell me that everything's there and we've got everything we need to make the story work. So yeah, but the guys were, they were great. The actors were great, and I loved working with them. They're a dream to work on. And like, for example, like Leah's so in tune with, well, for me, I felt like we were very much in tune. And so I know if we haven't got it, Leah's going to know when she's got it. Do you know what I mean? Like she's just very good, and that goes across the board with all the actors. And they were so, for example, Homer, our coach, he's so dedicated to it, and again, to have that is very unique. To have the actors so dedicated to making this a special piece, is like no other. So I was very blessed.
It's amazing. And okay, so I mean, there are some really funny lines in the film. I did write some of them down. Some of them made me feel things, some of them made me laugh out loud. But what's your favorite line from the movie?
I don't have my favorite line isn't a spoken line, but it's more of like a face, and it is one of mine. I To be honest, but there's a moment where without revealing too much, my character basically is very disapproving of another character, and the camera pans across everyone's faces, and they're very involved and loving what they're seeing, and the character's presenting an idea. And then it gets to me, and my face just looks like I'm not happy, but like I'm really like I want to kill the girl. Like I'm really not okay with this situation. And the face I pull, like if my mum saw it, she'd be like, that's the face you used to pull when you were 6 and you were grumpy with me for telling you off, like proper disdain. And I just find that so funny because but that is like, that's written in the script. It's written in the script that the character makes this face and is like not okay. And so that's my favorite line.
I think it's also because you're in comparison to the other faces that we pan across.
Everyone else is so excited.
Yeah. Very different.
And Sarah, what was yours?
Oh, you know what? It's hard to say. There's a few lines that I find really funny. But Fatimina, who plays Inez, is a great character, and she has got some killer lines. To be fair, she's like the nutter of the group, But she says there's no filter in anything she says. So probably the ending line, which I don't want to say because it would kind of ruin it. The ending line's pretty good, but also I think there's a scene in the locker room, where they go off on a tangent because they're talking about something serious, which is how do we win and not win? How do we get the money for our football group? And then they go off on a tangent about talking, star signs, which is a very lesbian thing to do anyway, and just go off on a complete tangent. So, those are the two lines. Obviously, I didn't want to say the ending line because it's quite powerful. It's part of the film, and we want people to watch it. So, but I'd say that those are the sort of really key lines.
I think I know which one you're talking about because that's the one that I found really funny, and I just really laughed out loud at the end of it because she's so like, it's a proper dry sense of humor, like, and it's just really really like, she just says it how it is type of thing.
Exactly.
I loved it, and I just laughed out loud because I was like, that is the best line I've heard. I'm going to use that in every day. Every day I'm going to use that line.
It's funny that line. Because I was really struggling with the ending and how the ending was going to end. The button they call it in TV and film. And I was just showering. I think it wasn't that. It was maybe 2 weeks before shoot or something like that. And I was having a shower, and it just literally popped into my head. The other writer, who's a really good friend of mine, I called and I texted. I was like, "Is this funny or is it not funny?" Sometimes you have to check if like things are funny or not. If it's just you. So we popped that in there. So it worked out quite well.
Yeah, no, definitely. And there's also another moment where you, Leah, are talking to the coach, and then he doesn't quite get what you're talking about, but he says something, and I just feel like as if that's going to resonate with a lot of people, just in general,
I know
whether
what you're
it's
talking
about
about.
football or life.
Mm.
I think it's going to resonate with a lot of people. So
Mm.
there are so many beautiful moments just in those 15 minutes. I mean we've talked longer than the movie. That's how much there is in there. But it also shows how powerful it is and actually the impact that it had on me just watching it as well. I wanted more, is all I can say. So for anybody who's thinking, oh, should I go watch this? Should I not go? You definitely need to watch this. You so need to watch this because it is so funny. I mean, and we showed the trailer for this at one of our events. It was a watch this space event that we did, and we invited lots of people
Hmm.
just to discuss about women's football. And when somebody said, wow, this will be like our new Bend It Like Beckham, won't it? So
Yes.
That's awesome.
I mean, that's amazing. That's exactly what I would want, obviously. And Bend It Like Beckham is a cult film, so that's good. That's really great to hear.
A film that I actually hadn't watched, and then when we were filming Soldiers United, we ended up staying in a house nearby the pitch, and we decided we'd watch it that night, and they all knew that I hadn't seen it before, so we were all watching, and they were very excited to see my responses, and I was like, oh, Juliet Stevenson, and like all these incredible things in the storyline, and it felt really special to watch it with them in that moment. But yeah, like how lovely to be able to provide that kind of thing for a whole new generation of young women and men, kind of coming to women's football and seeing it for what it is, which is great community, heart, and a lot of laughs. Funnily enough, I just did a project with Julia, and I sat right next to her for the entire thing. And I was like thinking to myself, if I hadn't have watched Bend It Like Beckham, I'd really I would be really, really calm right now. But
Yeah.
I was freaking out the whole time.
That's funny.
oh my God. Oh, okay, so what did you think of Bend It Like Beckham then?
I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was really funny. Obviously, it was made. When was it made? Like in the noughties.
Yeah, it was definitely in the 2000s. I want to say
Yeah.
2000 and ugh, I can't remember now.
I don't know,
2000,
but it's a film of its time, but
yeah.
also it's strangely relatable even now. So there's that, and I think there's something really beautiful about the characters in it and the particular storyline of the culture clash of the main character's experience and wanting to play football and the family, and that's like that's never going to change, really. That's like a thing that people always will feel all over the world in different contexts and different ways, because that's just how humans are. And so to see that being made at a time when perhaps it wasn't such a present in people's conversations, now we talk about it more, but that we didn't talk about it as much then, was really lovely. And I'm trying to imagine being my age then and watching it, and what an impact that would have had on me, as a little gay person, and just like who wants to play football. That would have been great. So I felt very just felt very lucky to be watching it at a time in my life where it was impactful, but I could also see the impact it had
Mm.
potentially on a big community, and how far we've come since then. So yeah, I think it's a great film. I think it's a great film, cult
Did you
classic, like we've said.
did you watch it during whilst you were filming, and did it help you in any way?
Yeah, literally. Like we watched it. We did a day of filming, and then I think it was the football day maybe where
Yeah,
we
these days.
shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we went all the whole team apart from Fatimina, who was going home, who was driving home. We were in this house, and we just sat there and watched it and had some Chinese food. Like it was great.
Mm.
That's amazing. So like when you're doing the football pitch moments, you'll be like, right, can I imagine like grandma, aunties all
Yeah,
standing
yeah,
there?
yeah.
Yeah.
It was so good. It was so
Yeah,
good.
it's the classic. It's the classic. It's the classic. Yeah, no, absolutely. Oh, I'm so glad. It's kind of like you said, I think this film is going to be a very, very impactful, and I really, really hope that everybody will enjoy it as much as I did. And I suppose the final question is, what is next? Because 15 minutes was not enough.
Yeah, it's very exciting what's next. So we are at the moment hoping to develop it as a TV series. We are talking to production companies at the moment, and waiting to hear back. like anything with women's stories and especially women's football, their production companies do sometimes need to see, especially this day and age with a film anyway at the moment, film and TV
Yeah.
industry. It's a bit hard to be getting things off the ground anyway. So what we're asking for is that if people can follow us and support us in any way as possible, really. So it's almost to prove to people that there is an audience out there for this film. So whatever that looks like, we have got our Instagram page, which is at Solers United, SOLERS United. So happy to reach out to us, follow us. We have some really super exciting things happening for the short film this year, which we will drip feed throughout the year. We can't say too much right now. So yeah, so it's just if we can get as much as support to really push this film and to show people that there are, of course, and as we all know, that there is a huge audience out there, but sometimes other people do not know this. So we're trying to really show people, and yeah, and just make sure people come and watch it because it is, as you said, we're very happy with it, and it's really good fun. And it's about time. It's been a while since we've watched a female football team.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And you've already the movie has already made an impact. It's being screened at the British Film Institute screening. I can't remember the date now.
It's March.
29th.
Yeah, 29th of March. It's so the tickets sold out in the first like 3 to 5 minutes for that, but there will be more screenings. So everyone is like, where do I get tickets? Where do I get tickets? And I'm like, don't worry, guys, there'll be more screenings.
He's already in demand.
Yeah. I feel it's worth saying as well that, these opportunities that Sara's speaking about and, the exciting things that are happening with the film and the BFI flair, that hasn't fallen into our laps. Like there's been a lot of work that's gone in a big team that's gone into, making these things happen, advocating for the film and for each other and encouraging Sara to kind of keep going ahead with it all and the producers. And so I just want to really kind of emphasize that it's something that we're very passionate about. We're doing it because we're passionate about it. And like the people who are listening to your podcast, hopefully are passionate about football. And we equally want to kind of, shine a light on the brilliantness of grassroots football. And in that, we're putting a lot of work into creating these opportunities to showcase it. It's not just falling into our laps. It's really been a labor of love from an entire team, and it's very rare to have a whole team of actors, producers, all these people really get behind a project like this. So it just shows that it's special. I just want to really make sure that that's put across because this isn't a normal project, and I say that being part of many projects over my professional life. This feels very special. So yeah,
Like I say, it felt special watching it.
That's great.
It hit so many. It just hit so many different notes for me, and I felt like as if me personally, it encompassed me as an individual and
That's
the
lovely.
things that you sort of feel on a day-to-day basis or that you think on a day-to-day basis or being able to relate to other people as well. I just feel like as if I just can't believe that you did all of that in 15 minutes, to be perfectly honest. Honestly. So honestly, but I think you're right. It is truly a testament to you guys and the team to have cultivated such an environment where you've able to, accomplish such a feat. Because it's not easy putting all of these things together at all. Like you say, it takes a huge team, but it also, as you say, takes a lot of passion, a lot of resilience, and you need each other to pick each other up, even when you feel like as if things aren't going right as well. And again, to get as far as you have already, and I know that this is going to be something huge. It's going to be huge. And I'm really excited for what's coming in the future for you guys. And I'm 100% support you guys all the way. anything you need, just tell me.
Oh.
I'll be there. I'm so invested in this now. You,
Oh.
you got me hooked.
That's
That's good.
awesome.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you both so much for coming on to the podcast today. I'm so excited for you both. And yeah, so here's to the future.
Thank
Sons
you.
United.
Yes.
So is United. Everybody make sure you follow them.